Today, we are saying goodbye to annual roof maintenance.
No more caulking, no more leaks.
So join us as we take you along to get our RV roof replaced and show you how you also can get a roof that lasts for a lifetime.
All right, so let's talk about roof maintenance. Super fun topic, right?
Wow.
No, nobody wants to talk about this, but it is important because obviously, I know with roofs, they're literally out of sight, out of mind, right? You don't really think about them typically until you have a problem. Unless you're Mr. Super Diligent or Mrs. Super Diligent about getting up there and doing the maintenance and re-caulking every year and being a really good steward of roof maintenance. And let's face it,
most of us aren't.
No.
Yeah. And some people are terrified to get on their roof,
Yeah.
or they physically can't get on their roof. So I think for us, this was a real reason why we considered this.
Well, even more of a reason, because we had a leak. That's right. In fact, in this spot that I'm sitting, with the leak that we had, I would be getting water in my head right now.
Yeah.
We actually had a situation that happened, I don't know, about 6 months ago. We had an issue with our solar, and I went up, and during the investigative phase, I was trying to fix something with the solar and with, where the cables ran down into the roof. I had to kind of peel up the sealant that was on there, and I thought I did an awesome job of it seemed completely covered in that sealant to me, but apparently it wasn't. And it took a very hard rain, which we didn't have a lot of when we were out west, and then we kind of moved towards the other side of the country, and sure enough, on the first downpour, it was literally a downpour inside the RV.
It came out of the light fixture and dripped down into the kitchen. And so that was very eye-opening and very disturbing. So
yeah, I literally ran out, grabbed a tarp, which I did have. I actually had more than one. And I went up the ladder with a weight and a tarp and set it on top of the general area where the leak must have been, so at least it wouldn't keep leaking. Yeah.
It was rough. Yeah. And I think it happened a couple of times before we actually figured out which thing was leaking. We thought it was the slide, and then we thought it was something else. And so when we finally narrowed it down, water had come in to the RV and twice. Yeah. So we were really, really worried. We did some major damage on that one. And so when we had this opportunity to partner with FlexArmor, which we're going to tell you about in a second, we were like, yeah, I'm pretty sure this is a good idea for someone like us. Because look, we're not techie people. We're not going to tell you about all the different roof choices you have. We just wanted the best.
Yeah. So FlexArmor, you're going to learn a lot about in this video. But the reason that we really like them is because they have been doing this for well over 20 years. It's a family-run business.
And they've done it. So they've done it, the sealant, for over 30 years, wow. 33 years. But they've done it specifically only specializing in RVs for over 20 years.
Yeah, these guys know what they're doing. And they do have a lifetime warranty. So
big bonus.
So that means no leaks for the rest of the life of your RV. And it's also transferable. So even if you sell your rig, the new owner gets a lifetime warranty on your roof.
Yeah. So let's talk about this FlexArmor, and this is why we chose it. I'm going to give you the benefits of it. So again, we talked about with this FlexArmor roofing, there is no caulking. There is no maintenance. It's tougher. It's going to how we all have brushed trees before, limbs or whatever.
Who, me?
Yeah, we've done a lot of that. But rubber roofs, you can snag really easily. And if you're not getting up there and checking it, you could have it and don't even know it.
Yeah, tree branches are sharp, by the way. They will cut into that rubber on your roof easily.
So that is a big bonus. No resealing every year. Every year you're supposed to get up there and do your caulk again. So that's a big maintenance nightmare for a lot of people.
A lot of work.
Yeah.
Or it costs you a lot if you want to have somebody do it. It's just, it's a lot.
So I'll just run down these, and then I want to take you with us to FlexArmor to show this to you, because it was so eye-opening. But up to 10 degrees cooler, and I can tell you, we're in the after phase right now. It is definitely cooler in here.
Nice.
Yeah. Sound reduction. So we're under a ton of trees. Since we've had the FlexArmor roof, we don't hear the damn acorns.
That's right. We've got little squirrels up there just throwing acorns at us, and we can't even hear them.
No, really, it's just it rained once, and I think it was a little quieter. You can still hear it on the slides, but as far as the top, definitely noise reduction. It's like increased insulation in a way. No more leak worries. Oh my gosh, you guys, that is just a weight off our shoulders, to be honest. Not worrying about little things puncturing. It's much tougher, and we're going to show you why. And so I think now would be a great time to just take them along and show them what this thing is.
Let's go. Okay, I'm up here on the roof, and we're about to take our RV in to get the permanent roof installed, and we're going to take what it looks like beforehand. We're in this place that has 2 big oak trees right above us that drops acorns on us all day, and as you can see from the other RVs around us, they are covered in leaves as well. So I just spent about 15 minutes spraying all that off of here. And I mainly just kind of want to look at the roof and get an idea if there's anything kind of soft, or I'm going to be interested to see if we had any water damage. This is just filthy, it's gross, but that's mainly because we've been underneath these trees for 2 months. Yeah, so it was definitely time to redo all the seals, but the good thing is with this new roof is that we won't ever have to do that ever again.
So it is a pretty uneventful drive here. Took a couple hours from where we were, so on a Sunday, no big deal. Lots of small, U.S. roads, so it is a little tight, but we're even big, and it was no big deal. So I wanted to kind of show you around when you come in. So we arrived, like we said, early to just do a harvest. They have technically they're registered as harvest host, but since you're paying them to do your roof, they'll let you stay here, the night before, because we need to be here at 9. So we thought we'd go ahead and drive over the night before, and then we're here nice and early when they're ready to start at 9. So what we did, came in, I'm gonna switch this around. It's really wide open, no big deal. You're gonna come straight through, and you're gonna see the check-in sign right here. And what we did is we just circled around these RVs and went around the other side, because right up next side of this building and in between this building is where you have to be in the morning anyways. So it worked out really good. And the hookups are on the far building, and I'll show you that in a second. Okay, so as you pull through, you'll see additional signs, and you'll just pull right up to the red stop sign, and all of the plugs are right here. They have 50 amps, so we were able to plug right in. And it looks like they have other adapters as well, but you should have your own. So we are actually getting ready to put our Starlink up, because the T-Mobile that we have is not working very well here. So this little area is a little off level. We're level enough, it's fine. So we're just gonna stay put until they're ready for us in the morning. I guess we're kind of big and long, huh? They're gonna make more room for the big old Vala. There she is. This is where we think we had our leak before. We'll see.
All right, so day 1. We don't normally have to dry it all the time, but they're gonna basically start stripping off all the caulking. They're gonna take off your solar panels. We have a mounting system they're gonna put back. They're gonna get your air conditioners taken apart and get them off the roof, and they're basically just gonna start stripping and cleaning and prepping on day 1. By the time they go home today, this probably should be almost ready to spray. Is usually the goal by day 1. If you had a lot of woodwork, they would have that all wood primed before the end of the day. So they don't have to wait for it tomorrow. That's pretty much it. They're going to get it dry and start just dismantling it.
All right.
Which actually, believe it or not, I'll tell you something. This particular roof style, you see how you have a slight curve?
Yeah.
That is actually the best thing to have. Because it's just like the old Fleetwoods. They were like this too. All the old Fleetwoods had a slight curve. Very rarely do they rot out, because the water can run off. It doesn't get trapped anywhere. So anytime you have a camper with that slight curve, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Because normally on a lot of fifth wheels, like these corners and the back corners is pretty flat, and there's always a rise how these usually come in. So usually water sits in the corner on fifth wheels and travel trailers. So your four corners usually rot the worst when it comes to those designs. And a lot of motorhomes have a perfectly flat, and so that's why they're real bad about it. So whenever you see curvature, is always good. But those are probably the most common weak spots, is all four corners. I always say your best leak prevention is a person who does regularly get on their roof. Because when you walk around, and you'll notice, like when they were checking you in or he was looking at your roof, he walks around and he pushes around stuff with his foot. If you usually will spot stuff when it starts to get kind of spongy, and when it's a small area. Now the drawback to the fact, let's say you have a rubber roof or a TPO roof and you find a wet spot or a soft spot, by manufacturer directions, the only way to fix that is a whole new roof membrane. You're not supposed to peel them back, fix it, and re-glue that membrane down. And it has to do with the proper way to glue cross links with the wood and all that. So that's not the correct way.
Obviously, this is the wire that cuts the material.
Yeah, that's where your line will be on your roof line. That's the first thing we always put down. A lot of people ask us how far we can go. Technically, we can go as far as, you see all our gun hangs from the ceiling. We'll go down pretty low if we want to. Like you have a lot of motorhomes. We'll go all the way down to the windshield. The clear coat eats away. So it's cheaper to add another foot of roof and not have to deal with that to get a new paint job.
Yeah. So this has really been interesting. I have really enjoyed learning about this whole process, learning more about roofs. I'm really, a lot of people are like, you have a newer RV, why would you want to even replace the roof? For one, in all transparency, FlexArmor reached out to us to see if we wanted to partner with them for this video. So we were like, you know what? We really hate getting up there and sealing those roofs, resealing, checking it. And the more we looked into FlexArmor, who really are the only ones doing it to the level for 30, I'll have to double check, 33 years, something like that, perfecting it with RVs. So a lot of people will transfer over from other industries and start doing this. Well, they've been doing it on RVs for over 20 years. So to me, they're just constantly pushing, and getting to know them, and it's family run business has been really eye-opening, and it's really wonderful to see how much care, their children work in the business. They all take part, and they really care, and they want to do a good job for you. They want you to have a roof that lasts for a lifetime. And so they do everything. They go above and beyond, from, quality checks throughout. They check each other. So you'll see some footage of someone walking around and marking when it wasn't perfect. He wanted them to come back and make it perfect. And that to me speaks loads to these people. So day one, I'm going to try to come back and get some footage of it after it's all stripped. They have still a lot of work to do there. And then tomorrow we get sprayed. So this has been really great to be able to show you, because I know this is something that weighs heavy on a lot of people's minds when you RV, is you do not want water damage. You do not want it to seep in and you not know it. This is a product that makes it virtually impossible for water to penetrate through it, and they stand behind it for a lifetime. So that is an amazing, amazing thing with FlexArmor. So here we are, day 2, and Jennifer's going to walk us through what's going to happen to the little Jimmy. That's what we call him, little Jimmy. Today with the new roof going on. So
They're just going to finish up prepping. Yesterday they got all the solar panels off, marked, got everything off the roof, and they've been doing a lot of cleaning. So today they'll finish up getting things papered off, getting ready for the final stages of primers, and should have the roof sprayed.
yeah, I'm excited. I'm going to come back this afternoon and show you the spraying. You got to see your own RV get sprayed. That's kind of cool. You got to know.
Sometime this afternoon.
saw yesterday, you know, since it dries in like 6 seconds, you're able to go back and quality control, make sure you don't have anything.
Yeah, so he's gonna spray. He's gonna do the whole border. He'll get up on top, fill everything in, do a check. Go back, check the whole roof for debris, anything that needs to cut out before he does a smoothing pass. And we can go ahead and move up some if you want.
So one of the questions I was getting was about how much weight that this can add. I mean, it's such a heavier duty material. So
it's about a ½ pound per square foot. On a 40-foot unit, it's about 150 pounds, not including any of the weight we remove when we remove old sealant or old rubber, stuff like that. So on your unit, you'd probably be somewhere in the neighborhood of like 175 pounds in total.
So people really need to probably take that into consideration if they're rocking that line overweight.
Honestly, the only times we've ever had issues are very specific Class Cs that are like tuned just to be as close to that weight limit as they can, or pop-ups, and we just don't work on pop-ups for a variety of reasons, but their gear ratio for that mechanism that raises the roof and stuff are so particular, any amount of weight is too much weight. But when you're considering that it's 150 pounds spread over 40 foot of roof, it's basically nothing.
So this will be all that you do today is the spraying, and then tomorrow is the UV? Or
Nope, they're going to paint it today.
Oh, they'll do that today too?
Yeah, it'll be ready to put back together in the morning.
Oh, cool.
Yep. Yeah, the UV top coat takes a little longer to dry. It takes about 4 hours to fully cure. In good weather. So they'll get that on there today so that when they come in tomorrow, they can get up here, put ACs on, do everything, get everything back together.
You know, something else that's really cool, and we didn't touch on with Jennifer, but you can actually have your RV brought here and dropped off by transporter. Or you, like some people, she was telling me about a couple who are going on a 2-week vacation out of the country. And so they brought their rig here, left it here in their hands, and they're going to do the repair while they're traveling. So there are options there here. I mean, if you're full-time, obviously you're going to have to do like we did at an Airbnb or local hotel. But you could try to maybe take a little trip to visit some people or go to a tropical island. Whatever. But you can see all the rigs behind me that are either already been done or waiting to be done or being stored here. I'm not really sure. But there's a constant flow. Someone just came in today, and there's 3 in the bay. So they stay really busy and they are fast. I've been really amazed how fast the whole process has been so far. But I wanted to touch on the fact that you don't have to physically bring it here. You could have a transporter. We saw a big semi truck bringing one in yesterday. So that is an option for you. Ooh, look at that.
Getting closer.
Pretty awesome, huh? I'm going to paint our dingy parts so that they look pretty too. Got that UV coating, so now it'll be all reflective. Be interested to see. Yeah, that's what they say. It really makes a big difference when it rains because it's the very top. You know? Looks great.
It does. It came out really well.
I know. So pretty cool, huh? And we want to be on the up and up. There are definitely pros and cons to the FlexArmor roof. So let's go over some of those.
Yeah, they do have a lifetime warranty, but it is limited in the fact that if you do have a leak, it's warranted against leaks, but if for some reason you were to have a leak, you need to get in there quickly.
Yeah.
Don't kind of abuse the situation like,
wait a year. And
when I get around to that side of the country, then I'll
Yeah.
come over there. Now, on that note, they do have multiple locations. Right?
Yeah, they have 40 locations now, and they're growing all the time. They're all over the U.S. I mean, some areas have more than others. but they're growing and growing. Even in my research, when I was watching other people's videos, it was like 30. Now it's 40. And he said they're always working to spread the locations more places across the country so it's more convenient, which is great as full-timers. If we get it done in Florida and we happen to be in California when we have something we need to adjust, we can go to a facility out there.
Yeah,
so,
sure.
Major cool. One of the things I like is that with FlexArmor, yes, you do have to go to the facility and they're going to put it inside. It's all protected. It's all environmentally like sound. So there's a lot of competitors out there that say their FlexArmor are good as FlexArmor, but they're coming to you. And I know that's appealing, but you're not controlling the environment anymore. So one little leaf, one little fleck of sawdust or something, and it doesn't seal properly, you could have water intrusion. So the fact that they do all this in a controlled environment ensures they have the best seals, the best connection, so that you have a truly leak-free RV. So that's a plus in my book.
Yeah, and it wasn't a big deal for us. I mean, actually, even though it was really in the boonies in Florida, there was a nice little Airbnb that we actually enjoyed kind of staying at, and Hugo certainly loved the place because he could run after
a yard.
Yeah, yeah. But it was just not a big deal. We were there for a couple days, got it done. We're in and out, no big deal.
If you don't have any problems, even a big rig like ours, 2.5 days. That's really all you need to have this entire thing done. And for a lifetime warranty and less headaches about the whole thing, I think that's a small trade to do. But I will tell you, one of the things I said earlier is cooler. So it definitely has that. It's better on the soundproofing, which is great. Insulation. I'm telling you that the way they do it and the layer that's there, I think it's 1/16. I'll have to show you. I'm going to show you. I'll lay over the actual material, what it looks like. So it's so much thicker than your just rubber membrane. No wonder it's more soundproof. So that's definitely a plus.
Okay, so let's talk about getting up on the roof. For a lot of people, that's a big deal. It's something that they would certainly prefer not to do. Let's be honest. We have a lot of seniors out there enjoying RV lifestyle, and getting on the roof is not really something that they would prefer to do because falling off could be a very serious thing for anybody.
Yeah.
And so, now you would probably still need to get on the roof to, like blow off. Like right now, we're under a tree that's constantly putting stuff on our roof, and we would have to go and sweep off or blow off the slides or the things like that. However, but as far as like there's no maintenance as far as like resealing or any of those types of things.
Yeah, so that's definitely a plus.
Yes.
And another thing is, and what we're crazy about, is the warranty can be transferred. So if you decide to change rigs down the road or you have to sell for some reason, that's a pretty great thing to be able to put on, that you have a lifetime guaranteed warranty on your roof.
Yeah, because if I was going to buy a used RV, I would immediately be thinking about the roof. And you said, hey, we got that covered. We have a lifetime warranty on our permanent roof install. Okay.
Pretty good deal.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know everybody's wondering what the heck this costs. The cost can be a pro and a con. It's a pro in the fact that it's much less than replacing your entire TPO roof. So we priced it out, and I believe for a 40-foot roof, I got a $16,000 quote on that.
For the roof.
For the TPO. So FlexArmor is about, depending on what location you go to, different parts of the country, I think, are slightly different pricing. We're just going to say it can be anywhere from like 175 to 240 per linear foot. So for our purposes, we're going to say $200 for a 40-foot roof. That's $8,000. That's half of the entire TPO roof replacement. So pro and a con, it's an expense that it's kind of a preventative kind of thing. So those are always harder to spend money on, but it's much less than a lot of the other options.
Yeah, I mean, it's as marketers and salespeople for most of our career, selling maintenance, selling prevention is always kind of tough because everybody thinks it's not going to happen to them, right? Well, the thing is, especially if you're a full timer, and you're living in this thing, if you have to think in terms of like, okay, what's the worst case scenario? There's a much more likely scenario that you are going to have a problem with your roof because you're out there in this RV more often than just a weekend warrior that during the week might have it parked under, under something. So you're going to be more exposed to the elements. You're going to be more exposed to rainfall, high winds, trees, things like that. And so you could make a very solid argument as to why a full-time RVer, this would almost be something they take a very serious look at. And especially, and if you're a weekend warrior that wants your RV to last longer than a few years.
Yeah. Especially out in storage when it's away from you and things like that, because you have more opportunities for things to happen when you're away from the rig. So it's something to think about. Now, there are cheaper options, and I know everybody's going to go down in the comments and go, well, I didn't rolled it on myself and I only spent $100 on the bucket. Okay, this is not even comparable to that. This is like, you can't even compare the two. So if that's you and you want to do that as part, and you really don't mind doing the maintenance, that's fine.
Please argue in the comments. It helps with the YouTube algorithm. You can argue all you want.
Yeah, but there's options for everyone. But this is the one that we chose for us for a lot of the reasons we talked about.
Okay, well, we hope you've enjoyed this video and you've learned a bit. I know that when we started full time, I mean, we knew zero about this. And so, but as we've almost been full time now for about 3 years, and our rig is getting older, and we're thinking about those types of things, and we've seen the things that can kind of throw us off of the road, or potentially do that, or have us to travel across the country to get things fixed or something like that. These kinds of things are a big deal because they can really disrupt your life if you're doing this full time. But even if you're just a weekend warrior that wants to protect your investment, we still think that this is something that you should strongly consider.
Yeah. I was very impressed with the whole process, the company itself. I said that before. So if you're considering getting a new roof, making sure, kind of taking that weight off your shoulders of worrying about leaks and damage and stuff on the road, really consider FlexArmor. We thought they were great and we would highly recommend it.